I challenged myself to start a brand new faceless Instagram account and see how many followers I could get within 30 days. But what happened next blew my mind. After just 30 days, my new account grew to over 100,000 followers and over 50 million likes. The rules were simple: no paid advertising, no buying fake followers, and no boosting from larger accounts. Every piece of content would be made using only AI tools, meaning I would never show my face or voice. I would be starting entirely from scratch to prove to you that anyone can do this when you use the right strategies. Today, I'll be walking you through every step of the blueprint that I used to grow this account and several others in different niches to millions of followers that have earned me over $500,000 in total income. There's no doubt in my mind that if you follow these steps, you'll be able to achieve similar results. So with that, let's dive in. Step 1. Choosing a topic. The first thing I needed to do was find a niche for my new Instagram account. When choosing a topic, you need for it to be something that you actually care about so you don't lose interest, but also something that's currently trending online. Don't worry too much about choosing a name, it matters less than you think. But if you are struggling to come up with a name, just head over to a website called Namelinks. Enter a few simple keywords about the content that you plan to create and click Generate. Using those keywords, Namelinks will put together a list of thousands of names for you to choose from so you don't waste hours frying your brain over this decision. For my account, I decided to name it AI Content Creator because it seemed fitting. The topic I ended up choosing was motivational quotes because I've seen a lot of people online resharing inspirational stuff to their stories, which is a strong indicator that this would go viral. But I also noticed that there are already a lot of big accounts that have saturated the market with content like this, which brings us to step 2, figuring out a way to stand out in your niche. Now, this could be your personality, your editing style, your delivery process, or something that's just cutting edge and no one has really seen before. Because here's the thing. If I just start posting the same stuff that everyone else is already putting out there, I'm not going to end up seeing the traction or results that I'm looking for. So for my new account, I sat down and studied Instagram for hours. And right before my brain was about to explode, I stumbled upon this gem of a video.
Psychology tricks you should know.
Back in April when I started this, I hadn't seen much like this before. I decided that these AI talking avatars were a pretty unique and clever way to deliver information, because at the end of the day, that's all social media is. A vehicle to deliver information to other people. Anytime there's a new style of content out there, the most successful creators are the early adopters, or the people who jump on the train early. And as you see some of the insane results we had throughout this video, you'll understand why this was a great decision. So I decided to go with this theme, hoping that it would give me a good chance of getting traction quickly. Step 3. Now I needed to start creating the actual content. But before we get into that, we need to understand why certain content goes viral. In just my second week of posting, one of my reels got over 21 million plays and 755,000 likes. But why did Instagram decide to push that post for so many people to see? The answer lies in the stats. So like I said, we can see that we have 21 million plays and 755,000 likes, meaning that roughly 4% of people who saw it ended up liking it. But there are two stats that are far more important that I want you to pay attention to. First is the number of reshares we had. It's pretty wild to think that 4% of people who saw this post ended up resharing it to their story or sending it to a friend. The second stat to pay attention to are the number of saves. For this post, it was 187,000, or roughly 1% of total viewers. These are by far the two most important metrics that Instagram uses to decide whether or not they're going to show your post to more people. But let's also look at this post's total watch time. 75% of people who saw this post were still watching after 10 seconds. That means I was able to get people who don't follow this account to stop scrolling and watch something, which is really half the battle. It also tells me that the hook was really strong. 50% of viewers were still watching after 26 seconds, and in total, 35% of viewers watched the video all the way through on average. These metrics should give you some targets to aim for while you're creating your content, because if you can beat my stats, then I have no doubt in my mind that you'll be able to go viral too. I actually came up with a cheat sheet for this. This is the golden formula that I use every time I create a post on Instagram. I literally use this as a checklist, and you should too. So here it is. Will people stop scrolling to look at this post? Will they spend a long time looking at it? Will they save it for later to come and refer back to? Will they want to share it to their story? Will they want to send it to a friend because it's relatable? And will they want to comment something long and thoughtful on it? If you can answer yes to all of these questions, then you have a viral post. Like I said, come back to this video anytime you're creating content and use this as a checklist because I promise it works. But how did I actually create this viral video? Before I walk you through it, I just want to re-mention that every step in this process uses AI, proving that literally anyone on the planet could do this and have the same results that I had. And I do have another video on my channel that shows this process step by step, but I'll just show you a super fast version of this process here as well. Come to Midjourney and type in a description of any character that you want to create. If you want to copy my exact prompt, just screenshot this and edit to your liking. Next, I need some sort of a motivational message, so I'll come to ChatGPT and ask it to provide me with some. After scrolling through a few of these, I found this one, which I think will do well because it has a really strong hook. Next, I need the audio, so I'll use 11 Labs to create a voiceover that sounds super catchy and interesting. Just as a side note, the pre-made voice they have called Adam is going super viral right now and is really catchy. That's the same one I use in all my videos, and to be honest, you should too. So I just copy and paste over the script that ChatGPT gave me, and voila, now we have a voiceover. We're just going to save this file and come to a tool called Studio DID. Once we're in the studio, we're just going to drag over the image that we created in Midjourney and add the audio file to create our first piece of content. And here's what the finished product looks like.
Love knows no boundaries, and its power lies in its ability to conquer all obstacles.
Now, this is just one style of viral content online right now, but I will be covering detailed tutorials exposing some of the most dirty secrets of content in future videos, so make sure you're subscribed. Once you've generated a few characters, you can bang these out in less than 10 minutes a day, so now we can move to the next step, which is posting. You'll want to post 1 to 3 times a day for your first month. In total, I posted 52 times in month 1, just as a reference. Basically, the golden rule is that you want to post enough to give yourself a chance to go viral and get seen, but you don't want to post 10 times a day and burn out your audience so they unfollow and stop engaging. Step 6 is one of my favorites, growth hacking. This is probably going to be one of the juiciest parts of this video, but I do want to mention that I dive really deep on some of the wild growth hacking methods I use within my new Instagram Blueprint course. But for today's video, I'll cover a topic that you guys ask about constantly, hashtags. Now, some of you might be rolling your eyes because you think back to some of those cringy hashtags that we used back in 2012. But whether you like it or not, hashtags still work, especially while you're small and trying to establish your initial base of followers. Here's why. Instagram has over 2 billion active users. Think about how many people are searching for specific keywords in the top search bar. When they search for a keyword that you've used as a hashtag, it becomes far easier for them to find and enjoy your content. For example, I'll just search for motivational quotes, and this is what appears in the search results. Instagram actually does a really nice job of mixing results from big accounts and also giving exposure to some of its newer creators. So, use hashtags that are relevant to your niche, avoid hashtags that don't make sense for the content that you're sharing, and never use general hashtags that won't attract your specific audience. Stuff like hashtag like for like or hashtag for you page, etc. You want to use hashtags as a tool for drawing in the right people to see your content and ultimately follow your account. So that's what I did. On each post, I put about 15 hashtags in the caption that were super relevant to the content that I was posting. And since I had decided to post once or twice a day for the first month, I was able to see what works and give myself a good chance of going viral. And although I didn't see much traction in the first week, I didn't get discouraged or give up because I know how this stuff works. In week 2, I had that first big post go viral. Like I mentioned, that video popped off and got about 21 million views, netting the account about 30,000 followers. But next I needed to figure out how to replicate the success. One of the biggest things I've learned while working on social media is that when you find something that works, you need to double down. So that's what I did. I took a similar video character and made another one about a week later where the video popped off and got another 20 million views. So over the 30 days, this is what the official growth looked like. I started my account on May 3rd. At the end of the first week, we had 974 followers. But by the end of the second week, I had gotten 36,000 followers. On some of the days during this week, I was growing by more than 8,000 followers. By the end of the third week, I had reached 71,000 followers. And at the 30-day mark, I was at a whopping total of 102,000 followers. I kind of wonder if that's some sort of a record, because it definitely is for me. I even got our first paid partnership offer where I could make actual money from this account, which is so dope. But ultimately, am I satisfied with the result? Well, yes and no. While doing this challenge, I learned a few things that I would definitely do differently if I was to try it again. And these points are going to be super valuable for those of you who are trying to grow an audience on Instagram that you can make actual money with. Obviously, the growth on this account was pretty incredible and I got a lot of quick followers. But as time went on, I realized that I was creating a bit of an issue for myself. Most of the followers aren't loyal fans, meaning they don't come back and engage on a daily basis. Having a majority of your followers being loyal fans is important because it keeps your reach up and it makes it a lot easier to monetize your account later on. Most advertisers could care less that I have 100,000 followers when most of my posts only get a few hundred likes and don't have a lot of loyal fan comments. Another easy way to build more loyal fans is to engage with them in stories, DMs, and comment sections. Because this whole operation was really just an experiment for the sake of showing you guys that anyone can get results when you use the right strategies, I didn't do this at all. But if I was in your shoes, I would be posting story polls, I'd be replying to comments every day, and I'd be building stronger relationships with some of my followers in the DMs. Next, we want to look at the quality of my audience from an advertiser perspective. Most of my audience comes from either the United States or India, which are two polar opposite ends of the spectrum from a consumer standpoint. Most companies who are going to pay you a decent amount for an advertisement are looking for audiences from countries where people spend a lot of money consuming. So here's the list of countries where people spend the most money on consumer goods. While you're building your audience, you want to make sure that your messages apply to people from those places if your goal is to monetize as much as possible. Lastly, I really slowed down putting effort into this account after the 30 days, which kind of flatlined our growth. The only goal I had when I started was to get as many followers as possible, so in full transparency, I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with this account long term. But my advice to you would be to have a long-term vision so you don't end up with an asset with no direction like me. I do have some exciting news that I've been waiting to share with you guys for a while now. One of the biggest requests I get is to build a course and community for people looking to build an Instagram account. So I finally created the ultimate 8-week blueprint. And I promise this is going to be the best in the game. I share every growth method, every shortcut, and every piece of strategy that I've learned over the last 5 years while I've made over $500,000 with faceless Instagram accounts. The link is in the description, but even if you don't buy it, that's okay. I appreciate all of your support and will continue to share as much as I can in future videos on my channel. So thanks for watching today and stay tuned, guys.